Hi, it's Debbie here from My Holistic Bliss. Welcome to my online studio. I specialise in teaching Vinyasa, Ashtanga Yoga and Yin Yoga. So today we're going to do a Yin Yoga workshop and I'm going to be showing you some myofascial release techniques to help release tension within the muscles. So we're going to combine these myofascial release techniques with Yin Yoga postures. Alongside this, I'm going to do a meditation themed around learning to let go. And then at the end of the class, we will do a meditation based around forgiveness. So hopefully you'll be able to forgive me for getting you to do these different myofascial release techniques. You'll be able to forgive yourself and maybe even send out some forgiveness to anyone else who you feel like needs it. So what you're going to need for this class is a blanket, 2 blocks or a stack of books, and 2 tennis balls. So once you've got your props, if you come and join me on your mat, we're going to start in a seated position. So if you find a comfortable seated position, either legs crossed, legs out straight, on a chair, on the floor, or sat propped up against the wall, you just need to make sure that you're nice and comfortable and that your spine is nice and straight. So starting in a seated position with the legs crossed, supporting your back if you need to. Relax the shoulders away from your ears. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, just allow the mouth to gently open and sigh out your exhale breath. Take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh out your exhale breath. Again, deep breath in through the nose and sigh out your exhale breath. Now bringing your awareness to your breathing. Just noticing any sensations that your breath is making within your body. And just following your breath to find its natural pace and rhythm. The art of learning to let go. All meditation involves letting go on a purely physical level. There is a regular, continuous release of your breath. When we exhale, we are attentively and purposely letting go of one breath in order to make space for the next. That process taking place over and over again in our lungs is a kind of picture of what goes on in our minds. When we notice a random thought, we aim to let it go instead of becoming carried away with it. When we notice ourselves wishing for an experience to be different, we remind ourselves to let go of that too. As holding on would be as pointless and unproductive as holding your breath. A vivid Buddhist story illustrates the concept of letting go of difficult emotions. The emotion in this instance is anger. It is said that anger is like a hot coal that we pick up to throw at the person who's angered us. But of course, the only person who is certain to be burned by the coal is the one who throws it. The point is that clinging onto emotions never helps, nor for that matter does it help to push emotions away. Letting go means coming into one's present experience just as it is. And so we let go of fantasies about the future and of worries about what may or may not happen. We let go of regrets about things that have already happened and of a longing to return to the past. We let go of all our desire for things to be different or for ourselves to be different, to be calmer, happier, nicer, richer, more successful. This is certainly not an easy task to achieve, but it's worth the attempt. And it's worth persevering even if we fail many times. Try not to worry about managing to be able to let go. Let go of that too. Now bring your palms together. Pressing the palms together, just gently rub the palms, creating heat in your hands. When your palms feel nice and warm, place them over your eyes and cheeks. Take a deep breath in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. 2 more times. Deep breath in through the nose, exhale. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And gently release your hands and open your eyes. So during this myofascial release and yin yoga session, we are going to target different areas of our body, and we're going to use either 1 or 2 tennis balls to do this. They will create a pressure very similar to the kind of pressure that we create from our thumb or from our hands when we're going for a massage. So if you're unable to get to have a massage, or you just need to try and keep on top of your muscles between classes or between workouts to ease tension, then this is a great way for you to do it on yourself. So you're going to need 2 tennis balls, 2 blocks or books, and a blanket for support. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you into some yin yoga poses, and whilst we are in these postures, we are going to work on specific areas doing the myofascial release. You will find that some of the techniques are more useful to you than others. You will really like some of them, you might hate some of the others. So it really depends on what your body needs right now. I'm trying to show you as many different techniques as I can so that you have something for pretty much everywhere. So we're going to do a little bit of work on the muscles around the forehead, around the cheeks and the jaw. We have muscles around our face just like we do anywhere else in the body, and we do lots of chewing, talking, we get lots of tension and stress around the mouth and the forehead. So we're going to help release that tension just in the same way that we do with all of the other muscles in the body. We're also going to work on the neck and the shoulders, so right down at the base of the neck and across the top of the shoulders, probably one of the most popular ones that I often show. We're also going to do a little bit of work on the hands. So again, the hands, like the feet, work really hard for us, and especially if we're practicing yoga a lot more or regularly already, you will find that maybe you're getting tension building up around the front and the back of the hands. We're also going to do a little bit on the back, kind of around the lower back, and that's going to be done using the blocks. We're going to do a little bit of myofascial release around the glutes, the inner thighs, front of the thighs, around the shins and around the feet. There are other areas or there are other techniques that you can use as well, but these are just some of the most accessible ones that I feel work quite well alongside yin yoga poses. So we're going to start with a myofascial release for the cheeks, forehead and around the face. So what you need to do first of all is create a base to rest one of your tennis balls on. So 2 blocks is ideal for this. So I'm going to set up the myofascial release first, and then we will come into our Yin Yoga Stretch. So you're going to place the ball onto the block, and from here you can choose whether you want to do right side or left side first. So you place the hands just by the sides of the blocks, bring the knees back just to the point so that you can, and you can even come down onto your forearms if that's more comfortable, and you're going to bring the cheek to the tennis ball. And what we're going to do is move the tennis ball around the muscles of the cheeks, around the outside of the jaw, around the eye socket, so under the eye socket, around the forehead, and then around the other side. So what I would recommend is circular motions, So if you go about 4 or 5 times in a clockwise direction, 4 or 5 times in an anti-clockwise direction, then up and down maybe 4 times, and then move on to the next area. Okay, if you feel like the intensity increases massively, that normally means that you've made a change or a shift in tension around the muscles. Or similarly, if you had tension there and then it goes away, that also suggests that you've made a change. So when you feel that, I would move on to another area. At the same time, we are going to come into the toe stretch. Not the most comfortable stretch in the world, so hopefully what you're doing with the tennis ball will distract you from what's going on with your toes. So you're going to tuck your toes under, and this toe stretch works on the big toe. So it's working on tension around the toes and the feet, but also it connects directly to your kidney meridian line, which helps at this time of year when we become quite fatigued and tired in the winter, and it also helps to support your kidney in its healthy functioning. Okay, so from here I'm just going to move around each side. So we're going to start either right or left side. So as I said, circling around about 4 or 5 times all around the cheek in both directions, and then working on up and down movements. This will feel a little bit strange. It's not an area that you would normally massage in this way, so you might feel a bit weird doing it. And just try to go across as much of the cheek as you can, working around the jaw, around the eye socket area, and around the inside of the nose and the mouth. And then when you're ready to move on, you can either move on to the forehead first, or you can move on to the other cheek. So I'll leave that up to you. And if you feel like you need to spend longer on a particular area, then spend longer. If you're working on the forehead, this is particularly useful if you find that you get tension headaches, especially around the front of the head, so around the eyes. So try and work around the eyebrow area, just to ease any tension around here, because we tend to hold quite a lot of stress around this part of our body. And just keep moving side to side or up and down. And then when you're ready, moving on to the other cheek if you haven't done it yet, and just circling side to side, moving up and down around the face. So I would like you to keep going until you feel like you've had enough and you've covered all of the areas of your face. Continue to stay in the toe stretch. If you have finished, we're going to stay with the toe stretch a little bit longer. So only when you're ready, you're going to come up to a high kneeling position and stay in that toe stretch. If you're still working on the myofascial release techniques on the face, then keep going for me. So when you do finish the myofascial release techniques, some things that you might notice. You might notice some warm sensations around the muscles. You also may notice a change in how they feel. Do they feel more relaxed? Do you feel like you've created a little bit more movement? So there might be a combination of sensations that you might feel after you've finished. So we're going to try and stay with this toe stretch for 5 more breaths. So deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. 4 more. 3 more breaths, if you can stay with me. 2 more breaths. Last one, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale. Now to come out of it, shift your weight forwards, untuck the toes, and just gently tap your toes on the top of the mat. That should instantly start to feel a little bit better around the toes. And then I would like you to shift your weight back so you're sitting back towards your heels. You might feel comfortable sat directly onto your heels, or you may find that you need to take your feet a little bit wider. If you do find that it's uncomfortable to be sat in that position for extended periods of time, then what I would like you to do is fold a blanket over and place that between your heels and your butt. That will just make it a little bit more comfortable. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work on some pressure. So we're just going to hold the pressure for this one. And we're going to work towards the top of the knees and the shins, the middle of the shin and down above the ankles. And this is going to release tension in the lower legs. So you need 2 tennis balls for this one. So we're going to start by placing the tennis balls just below the knees to the outer edge of your shins. So the tennis balls should be just peeping out of the side. Place your hands onto your thighs, close your eyes, and we're going to take 5 breaths in each position. So deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And as our theme is about letting go, as I mentioned in the start of the session, maybe you would find the mantra of inhale let and exhale go useful to help you stay focused when the mind maybe gets distracted, or to try and distract your mind from what's going on in the shins. So to practice this, we mentally speak out the words inhale let, exhale go. Inhale let, exhale, go. Now we're ready to move the tennis balls a bit further down, so to the middle of the shins. You may find that it gets more sensitive as you move further down, or maybe you might find that it's actually easier or more comfortable as you move down. Everyone will feel slightly different. If it is particularly sensitive, take a slightly deeper breath in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth for 5 breaths. So either breathing out with the mouth open or the mouth closed, but always breathing in through the nose. Take 1 more breath in for me. So we're going to move the tennis ball just above the feet. If you are finding that you are struggling to stay in this position, then add more of a cushion between the heels and the butt. So now we are just above the ankles. So find that spot that you feel you can hold. And again, count out 5 breaths. So inhaling through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Couple more times. Deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. 1 more. Deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Now gently release, move the tennis balls out of the way, and let's completely bring our feet and our knees out of this position. So come to seated. So just taking the strain off the knees and the ankles completely. Place the hands just behind you under your shoulders, and I would like you to just gently sway your knees side to side. And that brings us into the right position for our next release. So we're moving to the opposite end of the body now, into the neck and the shoulders. You're going to need 2 blocks or a stack of books and 2 tennis balls. So if you stack your books or your blocks just to the side of you, so they're lengthways, and then bring the tennis balls up towards your head. If you'd like, you could always put a small cushion under the back of the head, but I would try and keep between your ears and your shoulders as clear as possible, because we are going to add some movement here as well. So we're going to be working on the muscle at the base of the neck, just above the shoulders. So that fleshy part, normally where if you have kind of a crossover sports bra on, where it crosses over the shoulders at the top here. So you'll feel that fleshy part there, and that's where we tend to get a lot of our tension around our neck and shoulders. So it moves down through the back of the neck and it comes down into either the tops of the shoulders, or it moves a little bit further down into the shoulder blades, sometimes moving a bit further out to the sides. So with this one, you might find that you need to move the ball to a different place that I suggest to get where the tension is the most intense for you. So I'm going to give you a guide as to where to place them, but you might need to move them around to try and figure out what's going to work best for you. So first of all, we need to get our body in position, so into our Yin Pose, and we're going to use the supported bridge pose. So if you bend your knees, have your feet about hip width distance apart, and you're going to slide your stack of books or bricks under your back and slide them all the way underneath so that they're propped up just above your butt. So you want them at the base of your spine, and they want to be positioned at the bottom of the spine, just above the butt cheeks, and it's kind of just where your butt crack starts. So right at that really bony part of the lower spine. So for the tennis balls, you're going to place them about 1 to 2 inches apart at the base of the neck, just on that fleshy part at the top of the shoulders. Now you might find that you want them slightly further down or slightly higher up. So just have a feel as to what it feels like with where you have chosen, and try them in slightly different positions. You'll know straight away when you've found the spot where you're holding the most tension, and it might be slightly different from one side to the other, so you maybe might need one side slightly higher or lower, or the same. So we're going to start just by bringing our arms by our side, palms facing up, and you're just going to hold the pressure here. So the tennis balls should feel like they're pressing into your shoulder and neck muscles. So just bring your focus back to your breath. And just start to get used to that pressure. And hopefully with each exhale breath, it should almost feel like that pressure is not quite as intense. It starts to subside. If it's not quite subsiding for you yet, or it hasn't got slightly easier, then maybe stay still for a little bit longer. If you do feel like it has eased a little bit, we're going to add some movement with the arms. So bring your arms by your side, palms facing down. On your inhale breath, you're going to raise your arms all the way up and over, just above the ground, or to the floor if you can, and then exhale, bring your arms back by your side. So inhale, take the arms over the top, and then exhale, bring your arms back by your side. And repeat that about 5 or 6 times. Slowly moving with each inhale and exhale breath. The supported bridge, the Yin Pose, kind of takes care of itself, because while we're busy working on the neck and shoulders, you might not have noticed that actually your hips and your back have relaxed quite nicely into the block. So that's working on easing and releasing any tension around the lower spine. Particularly useful if you are spending lots of time sat down. Now on the last one, I'm going to take my arms all the way over my head. I'm going to widen the elbows and create that kind of capital E shape with the arms. You might feel the pressure has moved slightly higher or slightly lower. So just hold here, get used to the change in tension. And you can either keep your arms here as they are, or we can move them back by our side, palms facing up. So now we try a little bit of rolling. So like we were doing with the other areas, we're going to gently roll the pressure up and down the shoulder muscles. So as you can see, I'm not moving massively, so I'm using my hips to just push up and release down. So then the tennis ball is moving slowly up and down the shoulders. You should feel something pretty much straight away. Now if you can't feel anything going on, then that's either because you don't have any tension in your shoulders at all and it just feels quite nice, or maybe you need to move the tennis balls a little bit to find the spot that is the most beneficial for you. So I would recommend doing this for about 10 to 12 rounds at least. For longer if you feel like it's really, really tense. And maybe you want to concentrate on one area for a little bit and then maybe move the tennis balls slightly lower down or slightly higher up. So I want you to decide whether you feel like that's the right spot for you. You will know better than I do because you can feel what's going on. I can only feel what's going on in my body. So you need to observe and feel what's going on in your shoulders and your neck and respond to it. So move, either stay with it or move and reposition the tennis ball slightly higher or slightly lower if you feel like you need to. And then when you feel like it's eased slightly or there's been a little bit of a change in how the pressure feels, we're going to hold here. So either arms just by your side, or you can come back into that wide E, capital E shape. And we're just going to remain here for the next 3 breaths. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. So I've dedicated quite a bit of time to this area because this is a really common area for tension. If you find the same with any of the other areas that we do, and I don't spend maybe as much time on those, then you could always repeat them either on their own or part of this whole sequence whenever you need to. So to release, first of all we're going to take the tennis balls away. So release one at a time and just allow your head and your shoulders to rest flat to the floor. Get used to that change. And I'm hoping that when you lay your shoulders down, they feel like they lay down flatter, slightly more relaxed. And we're hoping for a similar feeling with the lower back as well. So to come out of the supported bridge, just lift your hips up just enough so that you can slide the blocks away and allow your spine to roll flat. Keep your knees bent. And then from here, just gently sway the knees side to side. So again, like the shoulders, you should hopefully feel like the lower back lays onto the ground just a little bit flatter and slightly more relaxed. And then if we just pick the knees up, bring the knees to the chest. You can either just hold the knees into the chest or maybe circle the knees a few times in each direction. So that's myofascial release for the neck and the shoulders whilst holding the supported bridge to release tension in the back. Again, 2 areas in one go. So when you're ready, either roll to the side or roll straight up to seated, however you feel is the most comfortable. We're going to move on to some myofascial release on the thighs. So this one is one where I would say that I probably feel like it's quite an intense, quite sensitive area. So if you feel like the tension or the intensity is too strong, you can always move them, reposition them, move them slightly higher up, slightly further down, depending on how it feels on you. So the Yin pose we're going to do with this is the Sphinx pose or baby cobra. So you're going to lay on your tummy. You need 2 tennis balls because we're going to do each side at the same time. And one option is to have a block or a fairly sturdy book to rest your forehead onto. That's optional, you don't have to have that. Because we're not going to be relaxing so much, that might be more useful when we come to the end of this posture. So first of all, we're going to position the tennis balls. So we're going to start quite high up. You're going to start up towards the hip, towards the outer side of your, well actually probably more towards the centre of your quad, front of the thigh, and up towards your hip, so at the very top of the thigh. In the same position on each side. If you find that you have more tension around the outside, then move the tennis balls slightly further out, or more tension down the centre, move them slightly further in. So you're going to come up onto your forearms, elbows under the shoulders, untuck the toes, and you want to just rest your forearms down, relax the head. Don't worry if the shoulders lift up slightly, that's fairly normal here. So one leg at a time. First of all, we're going to lift the toes and the knee. You're going to lift and lower, so you raise the leg. So let's go for 5 times on each side. So we're going to lift and lower. So just breathing as naturally as you can to squeeze the quads at the front so it enables you to lift and lower your leg. So you're going straight up and release down. As you lift, you should feel the pressure in the upper thigh increase as the tennis ball presses into the muscle. Then on the other side, so we squeeze and lift. So lifting your foot and your knee off the ground. So I would normally exhale as I lift, inhale as I release down. About 5 or 6 times on each side. Just as high as you can manage. It should feel like an uncomfortable pain, but not a really sharp stabbing pain. Okay, now moving to the other side, so we're going to bend. So we bend and straighten. If that's a little bit too much, then you can skip this one. So bend and straighten, about 4 or 5 times on each side. You can have the knee relaxed on the ground if you want to. Just repeat that on each side. So bend and straighten. Now I find that particularly intense. So you might need to increase the breath a little bit, take a slightly stronger breath in through the nose and a slightly more extended breath, a longer exhale out to the mouth. Okay, so we're going to move a bit further down. So more towards the centre of the thighs. So about halfway between your knee and your hip and coming back up into the Sphinx pose. So this time we're just going to bend and release. So right or left side, whichever side you want to go for first. So you bend and release. Again, about 4, 5, 6 times on each side. So you bend and release. So now we're working a little bit more into that kind of main meaty section of the quadriceps, front of the thighs. And then switch. So use the other foot for a little bit of support if you need it. So we bend and stretch. You may even come across some little knots or kind of little striations in the muscles where they've got knotted. And this is going to help to release that. And then release. Okay, now we go further down. So we want to go just above the knees. So for this variation, we are going to do a side to side movement. So I'd like you to roll your legs side to side. So just moving the tennis balls as far across each side of the lower quad, so closer to the knee. So if you need to adjust, so if you don't feel like it's quite getting as much movement as you would like, then readjust and reposition. You can also do the bend and stretch here. Personally, I find it a little bit sensitive being so close to the knees, so that's whatever you think you can stand from here, but you can go with that. It just feels slightly more unsteady, so only if you feel like I just don't find it gives you quite as much benefit compared with the side to side movement for here. So if it gives you release in the quads, go for it. And then release. Okay, so we're just going to hold Sphinx Pose just for a little bit. So bring the forearms parallel to each other, elbows under the shoulders. If you would like a little bit of extra support for the forehead, you can just place the forehead onto the block. So just try to make it so that it feels supported. You don't have to do that because we're only going to be here for about 5 breaths, so that's optional. To relax the hips a bit more, tuck your right toes under, slide the knee and the hip down, and repeat the same on the left. So you tuck and lift and slide down. Just holding here for 5 more breaths. Then slowly make your way back up. So pushing up onto the hands and knees, maybe taking a little bit of movement here. So coming into the cat and cow. So taking an inhale breath, allow the head and hips to tilt to the ceiling. Exhale, breath arch. Inhale, tilt the head and hips up. Exhale, arch. And either hold there or you can come back into child's pose. So as we are in this upright kneeling position, we're going to move on to the next one, which is for the feet. This is really good if you have plantar fasciitis or if you run a lot. It just might be a little bit, I don't know, interesting. Okay, so I would recommend having something to cushion your knee. So I'm going to start with my right foot. So I'm going to cushion the left knee, and then your blocks are there to support your hands. So ideally either 2 tall blocks, or if they're not quite tall enough, then maybe grab 2 water bottles or a couple of stacked tin cans, something that's going to be high enough to support your hands. So from here you just need 1 tennis ball. You're going to place it under your foot. So I'm going to bring my foot a little bit further forwards. That's it. Okay, so hands are about shoulder width distance apart. I'm lunging forwards, and I have my heel at the moment rested on the floor, but I want to be able to lift that off. So if that means you need to adjust the hands, then move them slightly further forwards or further back. So what I want you to do is just move the tennis ball around the underside of your foot. So trying to move around the outside edge, the middle, and the inside edge of your foot. And you'll notice that certain areas are more sensitive than others. So around the inside edge, around the big toe, so maybe you need to bring that knee in a little bit if it's difficult. Around the big toe can be quite sensitive, so just move slowly, breathe. If it's too intense, then move to another area. And just try to work around as much of the foot as you can. So rolling up, rolling down. Maybe you want to do some side to side movements, a little bit harder to control here. And maybe some more circular style motion. Just moving around the surface of the foot. So try and spend at least 5 to 6 upward, downward movements in each area. So the outside edge, the center, the inside edge. And then I would like you to roll the ball right up towards your toes. So you're going to lunge forwards, and I would like you to grip the ball with your toes, so like you're trying to squash it. So grip and release, grip and release. So about 3 or 4 times, and then we're going to change sides. And at the same time, we're working on stretching out the hips. Okay, so when you're ready, change over. So bring your blanket to support your opposite knee. Lunge the leg forwards. Have the blocks so they're under your shoulders and the tennis ball under your left foot. So you want to be able to lift the heel off the ground. So you need to have the, if you're struggling to do that, you might need to shorten the lunge a little bit. So instead of having this right knee so far back, maybe have it slightly further forwards. Okay, so again, working across the outer edge of the left foot, the middle, and the inside edge around the big toe, and kind of into the upper arch of the foot. So just moving the pressure across the foot, up and down, about 4 or 5 times in each area. Longer if you feel like you need to. Some areas of particular tension are around the under the knuckle of the big toe. Just gently moving either. Tends to work better if you're just going up and down, but if you would like to try some more circular motions, some side to side motions, go for it. Okay, then once you have done that all across the foot, then bring it to the point where the tennis ball is under your toes. So all I want you to do is grip and release, so like you're trying to squish the ball. So grip it with the toes and then release it about 3 or 4 times. Grip and release. Okay, so we're going to do a very similar thing with the hands. So you can sit on your blanket. You don't really need many props for this one. And you just need one table, so you're going to do one side at a time. So for this one, we're going to work on the palm of the hand, so around the thumb. We've got some really important reflexology points here. So working here will help aid with reducing stress, easing tension, relaxation, and also just our hands do a lot. So, you know, we operate our knife and fork with our hands, we rest on our hands a lot with our yoga practice. So you're going to find that you get a lot of tension around this area of the hand. Also around the knuckles and kind of the fleshy part of the fingers here. So try and make sure that you work all the way through the palms and into the fingers. I'm going to do a little bit on the backs of the hands as well. So you can either do this like this. If you're short of time, maybe work on both hands at the same time and just rolling the ball between right and left hand. Or for a bit more pressure, then use the floor. So again, like the feet, try and work on the outside edges of the hands and the fingers, the middle, the center, all the way up to the wrist and all the way down to the fingertips, and then around the thumb and the outside edge of your hand. So just gently rolling up and down, or even side to side, or you can do shearing. So that's where we kind of hold the ball central and we rotate a bit like a turning motion around across the center of the hand, around the thumb, around the fingers. So try all those different movements just to release the pressure, and pay particular attention, especially if you guys have been doing lots of chaturangas, downward dog, lots of postures on the wrists and the hands. Work around the thumb and trying to ease any pressure or tension that's been created from here down towards the wrist. And then when you're ready, moving on to the back of the hand. So a little, not quite as comfortable on the back of the hand, and it might feel a bit more crunchy, so a little bit harder to control. So just work as fully around the hands as you can. Around the outside edge of palm of the hand and the finger. And then when you're ready, move on to the other side. So around the palm of the hand, around the knuckles and the fingers, inside edge, outside edge, just like you did on the other side, working on that up and down movement, or if you found it helped, you could do that shearing movement, so like a rotating around hands, the fingers, or going more for a rolling position. And then when you're ready to, move on to the back of the hand. So around the tops of the knuckles, the fingers, the upper part of the back of the hand, and just around the outside edge, all over the hands basically. And then when you're done, bring the hands together, let's rotate round about 4 or 5 times in one direction and then in the other. A little bit of a wrist stretch, so push the fingers and then you lift the hands down. And then the other side. And release. I think, oh no, one more, glutes. Right, this is your last one. So we're going to do one side at a time and then we're going to hold both together for the last bit. So if you just pop a blanket for your head, just support your head. You may or may not want to use the blocks, and just keep them close by just in case. So we're going to work on the glutes. So laying back, you're going to place, so you're going to have your left leg straight. We'll get in position first. You're going to place the tennis ball towards the outside edge of your glute muscle. And again, like the shoulders, you might need to try this in different positions to see where feels the most effective for you. If you tend to get pain around the sciatic nerve area, then the outer edge is going to be better. So straighten your left leg and then take your arms wide. So from here, your right foot's, actually my right leg's straight and my left leg's bent, but it might be different for you guys. You're going to slowly roll the knee out to the side and then come back into the center. So we roll out to the side and then back in. Roll out to the side. And if you feel like that is providing good tension release for wherever you positioned the ball, then leave it there, or you can maybe try it slightly higher up, slightly further in, or slightly further out. You might find certain areas are just really difficult to maintain because they're just a bit too uncomfortable or a bit too intense. So do that about 5 or 6 times on each side. So then when you're ready, change over to the other side. So we straighten the opposite leg and then we just allow the knee to fall out to the side and then back in. So out to the side and back in. Try it in different positions if you feel like you need to. Maybe repeat about 4 or 5 times, maybe slightly higher up in the glutes, slightly lower down, or slightly further out. Okay, so we're going to finish with a hold. So this time you're going to position feet together, tennis ball either side, either slightly higher up towards the top of the glutes, more towards the middle, or towards the outside. Try it wherever it feels it kind of is the most comfortable, and then just let your knees go out to the side, your arms slightly away from the side of your body, palms facing up. And let's hold here. So staying here for 4 more breaths. Gently bring the knees back to the centre. Release the tennis balls, pop them to one side. And we're going to prepare for our Shavasana, for our relaxation. So allow your legs to lay flat. If you would like to get any extra layers, blankets, pillows, now is the time to grab them. So preparing yourself for your Shavasana. Using a pillow under the back of the knees or even under the back of the head to make yourself as comfortable as possible, so we can relax the head, the shoulders, the hips, the knees and the ankles. Use a blanket to help keep you warm and close your eyes. We're laid in the corpse pose with our feet slightly apart, so our legs stretched out and our feet slightly apart from each other, about hip width distance, and your arms by your side, just slightly away from the side of your body. Turn the palms of the hands so they're facing up towards the ceiling. Starting from the crown of your head, scanning all the way down your body to your feet. And as you're moving through the different parts of the body, checking in with your muscles, your bones, your joints, and letting go of tension. So coming back to the mantra that I used earlier, as you inhale, mentally say inhale, let. As you exhale, mentally say exhale, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. If your mind becomes distracted, use this mantra. Come back to it whenever you need it. By mentally sounding out the words inhale, let, exhale, go. So to close today's session, I'm going to take you through a guided meditation, a forgiveness meditation. Hopefully forgiving me for making you do those myofascial release postures, forgiving yourself and forgiving any others around you. When we hold on to grudges and old resentment, we bind ourselves to the past. This prevents us from appreciating and experiencing the present. Sometimes we feel remorse at our own actions, and this too can keep us from embracing the here and the now. Forgiving oneself and forgiving others is not the same as condoning harmful behaviour. Nor does it mean that you need to maintain a relationship with someone who has harmed you. Forgiveness is a way of allowing for space in your heart so you can move on from the pain of the past. Taking in some deep breaths and relaxing into the ground. Bring your awareness to your heart area. Become aware of how this feels right now, without judging the sensations that you feel. Is there a heaviness, a numbness, a tingling, a sense of something that's closed up or else unprotected? Just notice any of the sensations or feelings around the heart right now. Now Now turn your attention to a person or thing that maybe you feel resentment or anger towards. Someone or something who has harmed you in some way. As you bring this person and the offence to mind, see if you can notice a sense of holding on to this pain. I would like you to try whispering the person's name and silently repeat the words, "For any pain you have caused me, I forgive you." If you're unable to feel a wholehearted sense of forgiveness, you can change these words to say, "I forgive you as far as I am able to do so at this moment." Let the meaning of the words work their way into your heart. Forgiveness cannot be forced. All you are doing here is opening up to the possibility of forgiveness, like a door ajar. Now think of someone else that you want to seek forgiveness from. As vividly as you can, bring to mind this person or the situation in which the pain was caused. Let your awareness encompass any feelings or sensations you may experience in the heart area or elsewhere in the body. Now start to bring some awareness back into your body. Start to become aware of the room around you. Awareness of the walls, the ceiling, the floor. And awareness of yourself laid relaxed on the ground. Become aware of any sounds that you can hear within the space you're in. Any sounds from within the room or any sounds from outside of the room. And slowly start to make some small movements. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, until you're ready to do a full body stretch. Reaching the hands up above the head and stretching out the toes. And slowly bringing the knees towards the chest. Wrap the arms around the knees, give them a hug. Gently sway the knees from the right to the left. Just allow yourself to roll onto your right side, supporting the head with the hands. And slowly making your way back up to seated. Coming up to a seated position with the legs crossed, resting the hands together in front of the heart center. Take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh out your exhale breath through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose and sighing out your exhale breath through the mouth. And again, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Bring the hands to the forehead. Take a bow to the front. Namaste. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that session. And again, like I said at the beginning, there are other myofascial release techniques you can try, and you can combine them with other yin yoga poses. I just wanted to try and give you as many as I could within this session, so that it covered all of the main areas that commonly tend to get a lot of stress and tension, whether that be physical or emotional stress and tension held within the muscles. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you very much for joining me. Namaste.